Good day. Welcome everyone to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami Hill Thomas, and I'm excited to have you join me today as we discuss global national news to help motivate you to be better in our purpose, to make sure that we're impacting the world. We're so glad that you're joining us. And today we have some surprises and a chock full of information. So get ready for the ride. As we discuss today, something that's key to the United States. On the platform of the Power Up, we sit on an amazing cable channel, a network, We Empower Network. The network is very proactive in affirmative action, equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion. In other words, every voice matters. So, what we want to do today is make sure that we educate you on some things that you might have missed in the news that are too important for us not to remember, for us to take for granted that it might not impact us. Let's take a minute and talk about a decision made by the United States Supreme Court. For those who may not be aware, because many of us do a lot of surfing all the time, many of us do a lot of social media, reality shows, things like that, and we aren't necessarily chimed into the news the way our parents might have been. Y'all remember reading the newspapers? How many of you still get the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or the New York Times? Do you know that the information that is printed is just as important now as it was when Frederick Douglass fought to make sure that journalism was a voice of our people? So, we're going to talk today about something that impacts those who are other populations. The United States Supreme Court has filed a decision to take down affirmative action. In other words, what it did on Thursday was it struck down affirmative action requirements that help with college admissions, declaring that race can no longer be a factor and forcing institutions to open their doors for a more diverse student population. Now, what's interesting to me is that one of the Supreme Court's justices who voted for this decision was a black man, is a black man, who went to a college because of the affirmative action opportunity and yet voted with his comrades to make sure that affirmative action and the opportunities afforded just to make a regular playing field. Now, understand, affirmative action is not a handout. Affirmative action is meant to allow equality to have its space so that generations to come can apply to those Ivy League colleges and have the same opportunity that those who might be of the Caucasian persuasion would have. Those who have colleges that are primarily white and it very little African American, Hispanic American, Latino American, other populations. The reason that the Power Up is elevating this information today is number one, we're not happy with the decision. It's important that voting is elevated during a time like this. See, we would love to bring you a show that's just full of fluff and bring you a show that just has you thinking about everything else but what's important. We have the obligation here as the team of the Power Up to remind you that not only should you have the opportunity, but how about your children, grandchildren, come on, great and great grands, to have the same opportunity that Ruby Briggs was the first African American young lady to segregate schools. Come on, let's learn our heritage and make sure we're not doomed to repeat it. Voting is so important because the justices are selected by the president. So for folks who say they don't believe in the electoral colleges and they feel like voting for the president and the vice president is rigged in some way, I would for you to consider to get educated on how many of the electoral colleges have shifted, how many states have no longer abided by the number of votes they may have had in the electoral college and have now shifted to the popular vote in their state. Now, that's very important because remember, during slavery times, those who were of African descent weren't included in any way in voting, and neither were the white women of America. So remember, if you look at your history, you'll find that there was a demonstration where women were out burning their bras because they wanted the right to vote. Those were white women. Because back then the class of voting was totally different. It was only meant to be for white men. So we're not here to bash. I have Caucasian, Polish, Irish descent. I love my white cousins and family members. This is not a voice to say that others don't matter. Please understand our obligation is to share news and perspective. The reason this decision is so important is that we get to a place in society where individuals think that African Americans are only good for ball playing or being comedians, right? What people put us in the box as doing. But education is just as important to us. Do you know that we have some amazing young scholars right now making the news? One young man, African American, I believe in Detroit or Chicago, was accepted at every Ivy League college because he had the highest GPA in his city. So if you close affirmative action as an opportunity, then while he might get in because he met the grade, what does that do for the others who did their best in school, their due diligence in school? We send the babies to school every day to grow, get nurtured, get educated, get elevated, have someone pour into them so that we can be amazing members of the society, pay our taxes, be law-abiding citizens, just like everyone else. So why is this one decision not supporting equality? I would for you to do your research on how this might impact your household. Typically, we focus and we start our shows with a lot of global news. But we decided today to start with a national perspective because what you do when it's your time to come to the ballot is what speaks your voice. Think about it this way. John Lewis, the Honorable John Lewis, who is one of the key fighters for African Americans to have the right to vote, stood with Dr. King. John Lewis said, when there were marches going on because of the death of George Floyd, come on, I'm bringing it home now. He said, don't march if you're not going to vote. Because the rallies and us gathering and us making sure that we're angry and people hear it, it's but for a moment. Your vote, as you see, can be for generations. Many of the justices who sit on the Supreme Court now have been sitting in those seats for years. Transitioned presidents. So should one president appoint a justice that is very one wing or one way or super conservative, and there aren't other justices to balance out the same decisions and perspectives, even though we're all different, it makes a difference in your children's ability to get to a place of higher learning. And I don't know about you, but I want my babies to have the same rights as everybody else. So consider a few things. First, know what's going on in the news. Whether you watch your news in the morning while you're getting dressed, whether you do subscribe to a newspaper being delivered to your home, because they still do deliver, or the fabulous information age we're in where you can get it right to your email. Come on, e-magazines and e-books. And how about continuing to tune in right here every Friday as we share the news? Consider how you gain information so that you're better, and then you share it with the people around you. Oftentimes in our workplaces, we have those cooler conversations, which means you'll see somebody in the hallway and broker a discussion about something. How often are those conversations about the future, about things that matter? Now, don't get me wrong. I'll be the first one to tell a sister, you are rocking that dress. Yes, ma'am, your hair is on fleek. Work the lashes. I will tell a brother with the quickness, amazing job with that presentation. Wow. Thank you for all that you shared for us because we're responsible for lifting us up, right? That's what we do. We hold each other. But how much more important is it to make sure that your voice at the ballot box is heard? You'll notice that in some states, they're making it much more difficult for individuals to vote. I don't have to mention a lot of the states. You can, again, just Google voting restrictions, voting democracy or demographic issues. You'll hear stories about how individuals stood in line for 8 hours because one of the voting machines went down. But when you go across the street to another jurisdiction that might be primarily a different color, they had 5 machines there working and no line. Family, we are zoned in a certain way so that they can count what our voices are. So if you find that you're in one of those lines, join a civic association and come on and make zoning changes. Let folks know that this is not okay, that now you're impacting education and just the opportunity for equality. We're not saying you have to pick us over someone else. We're saying we want you to consider us just like everybody else. Family, we hope this information was helpful, enlightening, and educated you on the power and impact you have where you are. Because that's our job here at the Power Up, to not just leave you elevated and feeling good, because that's going to happen too, but also empowered that you can make a difference. You know what I did when I heard about the decision? I went to social media. I have a voice on social media. Let me tell you something. I have 5,000 friends. I don't know all those people, but somehow they've connected to me. So I have a voice. TikTok, a voice. Instagram, a voice. Whatever those different social media platforms are, someone's going to listen to your point of view. Now, what we do here is remind you of the power you have to make a difference. Family, the decision, whether you agree or not, the justices will make official. They will all agree, henceforth and forevermore, affirmative action that was implemented in the 60s during the civil rights movement, just to give people who have my skin color an opportunity to go into universities and colleges where we weren't initially welcome. President Obama, First Lady Obama went to Ivy League schools because of an opportunity. So family, we hope this was helpful. We hope you're equipped with information and we hope you're ready to vote. So as we move forward, there's more to come in this session and we're excited to take you forward. So stay tuned. There's more after this.
Hey, how you guys doing? This is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner at Empower Mornings. Join me every Monday at noon to work out with Regina on One Network.
Life has its way of being sweet, and life has its way of being spicy.
You did not have to hit me there.
Girl, I did not hit you that hard.
Anywho, life has its way of being hard, and life has its way of being easy. Join us every second Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time,
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
at the We Empower Network. Tune in to the Sweet
and Spicy
Podcast. Hope to see you there.
Bye.
Hey, family, welcome back to the ride. We're excited that you're joining us today. And I'm grateful because I get to interview an amazing, phenomenal woman making a difference across this planet. As we go into this next session, we're talking about leadership, ideas, building a business. And we get hit a lot of times with questions from our viewers. So we invited one of the best experts to respond to one of those questions. I want to take an opportunity to introduce to some and present to others the very CEO of the We Empower Network, visibility coach, author, publisher. She's also the editor-in-chief of 3 different magazines, y'all, and is an international motivational speaker in her own right, and yet finds the time to do one-on-one coaching and love up folks across the world. I appreciate your time and excited to have you, the one and only Miss Angela Lewis. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tami. Listen, I don't know where else I would want to be because I absolutely love being around you.
Oh, well, listen, birds of a feather. Because I feel the same way. Let's jump right into it if we will. I know that most folks have to pay you for this time because time is money and your skills are so valuable. And I just want to share with folks for 1 minute that this individual, this phenomenal lady, actually coaches other Fortune 500 and 100 executives. She makes opportunity to sit with individuals who can talk to other politicians. And you never know how much an influence makes a difference. But that's why we wanted to bring her here to you today. So, editor-in-chief, executive, Madam CEO, one of the questions we received from a viewer was very simple, but I thought you would be the perfect one to address it. The question was, I lost a lot during the pandemic, had to start over with my business. How do I begin? I want to get to a level of success. What a powerful, loaded question. Starts with acknowledging that she lost so much. But one of the things I want to say is I love that she's already focused on getting to a level of success. What are your initial thoughts for our viewers?
Well, you know what? First and foremost, I think the biggest thing for me is once you acknowledge what you lost, you always have to remember that if you've done it before, you can do it again. So that's the biggest thing, is just having the right mindset of knowing that there's nothing lost if you've already done it. It's just a matter of positioning yourself to move forward. Now, whatever you've lost, take the skill sets from there and then reestablish yourself. So we're in an age now where, you know, it's time to start collaborating with other people. So maybe it is that you get with other people, help yourself get to a place where you can go to that next level. Same thing as what we're doing with the network. Could I have done it by myself? No. I reached out to some amazing people who had some great content, who could bring some things like the Power Up Show with Tami Hill Thomas and other people. But you bring in and we collaborate together to make an impact on the world. And so if she has had something before that was very successful, and for whatever reason during the pandemic, it did not continue on, now is the time to start reassessing those skill sets and seeing how she can get back in there. And sometimes it's just a matter of connecting with the right people so that she can start making steps to get back to where she was before and then supersede that thing.
I love that. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think speaking life to individuals is so important. How often do you find that on the different one-on-one executive platforms that you're on, they end up shifting from content devoted to leadership into motivation and inspiration?
It's all the time, Tammy, because this is the thing. Everybody wants to feel a level of competence and success, but sometimes even the best people doubt themselves, and that's where you have to go in and really encourage them and say, listen, you are out here being amazing. You are out here doing something incredible. There's only one you. You are the secret sauce. You are the magic it factor. And when you can get somebody to believe in themselves, that opens up unlimited possibilities. But a lot of times we're so caught in the day-to-day, we forget how amazing we really are. We tend to think that some of the things we're doing are very minute when it's minute to you, but it's huge to someone else. And so when you shift the perspective back to say that, look at what you've accomplished. Look at what you're doing. And when you can see that, okay, I've left a trail of success stories. Now I can get you back into the mindset of where are we going next?
Oh, fab. I love that because it's movement. Thank you for your transparency and for sharing your thoughts. I would like to take it to a little bit of a personal level, if I may. Sometimes when we deal with individuals, when we work with individuals, they feel like they can associate with someone when they can connect, when it becomes personal versus just informational. I tell individuals that when I do speaking trainings all the time. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if folks can't understand you, it's just you talking to 1,000 people by yourself. So
Right.
what do you find helped inspire you with all of the different things that you've touched and all of the different people you've touched, and yet where you're going globally, the things that's in the future you already have scheduled and planned? What is your why and has pushed you forward?
Tammy, you know what? When I look back over all of the things that I've done and the people that I've been connected to, it is really seeing the growth in the people that I've maybe talked to before, had conversations with, that have encouraged them to see where they started and see where they are now. And when I look back, and sometimes, even I can get weary, get tired and say, God, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? But then he shows me some people on my platform who, may have felt insecure at first and unsure. Now they're out there killing it. Having conversations with people and seeing that you can make a difference. And it doesn't require a lot. Sometimes it's just being able to support other people, showing up for them, letting them know that you are there in their corner. All you got to do, I attended an event over the weekend, and just being able to show up made the difference for somebody. And a lot of times we think we have to invest so much and do so much, but a lot of people are just looking for people who will support them. If you think about businesses that fail or people who give up, a lot of times they do so because they feel like they don't have the support. They don't have the encouragement. Nobody's really acknowledging the effort that they're putting in. So when you can show somebody that I believe in you, I see you, that's powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me if you would. I want to stay right there.
Okay.
Pushing someone. Give our folks an example on how they can uplift others.
You know what? Really and truly, it is paying attention to what you see people do. Sometimes it can be how people maneuver. The information, just like today, you spoke up about the affirmative action ruling. A lot of times it is me saying, Tammy, oh my God, the information you gave me was so enlightening. I didn't realize that all of these things took place. Now it's making me understand that my ancestors stood and went through a lot to get me where I have the afforded privileges that I have today. But I didn't think about that. So let me just tell you, shout out. I love what you're doing. Continue to be successful. If there's anything I can do to help you in your endeavors, please let me know. That's one way. The next thing is really being able to tell somebody that, guess what? I see what you're doing, Sparkle. I see that you're out here doing this, and I know someone perfect to connect you to. I believe the two of you will be a great, can collaborate and do something even more bigger. Being able to be that conduit, giving information and helping people see that Instead of telling them, well, go Google it. No, if I know how to do something, share that information. Let's stop trying to make it harder for people to get to where they have to go. There's enough out here, but you got to have an abundance mindset to know that I don't keep anything for myself. If I got it, I'm going to give it to you. Because just because I give it to you does not mean it belittles me, demeans me, or keeps me shining my light any dimmer. What it does is allows me to shine even brighter because I've allowed my wattage to get bigger because I've shared the information with somebody else who can in turn share it out even more. It's like throwing a pebble in the water and you see that it just, the centrifugal force just continues to go out further and further. You don't want to stay in a small space and keep it to yourself. You want to shine and share the thing out to everybody because the more you know, the more you grow and the more that we can accomplish together.
And together is the key. Absolutely. I want to stay there if possible before our break. I also know that you're connected to many different network groups, sisterhood. You promote sisterhood. You promote executive leadership. For individuals, going back to the question we received from our viewer, who did have a level of success, lost it during the pandemic, and now wants a new level, I would imagine she's in a space where she submitted that question. How do you speak hope to that leader and that individual?
Number one, you know what? If you feel like you've lost your place or your way or your space where you thought you were going, a lot of times it takes you just getting more information because information is power. When you feel comfortable in the knowledge of information that you have, you move a different way. So maybe start studying where you're trying to go and get yourself in a position where you've got the information you need so that when you are when an opportunity presents itself, now you walk through that door. You go in and you introduce yourself with confidence. You lay out what you're able to do. Become empowered, which just means having the confidence in yourself and knowing that you have the ability to get the job done. And nobody can take that away from you. When I know what I know, nobody can come and tell me anything differently. When I know I deserve a seat at the table and when I get to the table, I'm bringing value, that changes how you show up and how you move in life. And so for her, I would just say that whatever you see yourself being at, don't get intimidated by who you're getting ready to ask an opportunity from. Don't be intimidated by the people who may be surrounding you. Get your knowledge up if you feel like you're not where you want to be at, and then start knocking on doors. Because the Bible says, knock and it shall be open. So don't fear that. Knock and then believe. Walk in expectation. Walk and have the audacity to know that you have a seat at the table and it's got your name written on it. So when you do that, now you show up in full authority. You show up showing people that, listen, I am the right choice for this position. I am the right choice for this business to go out here. My ideas, my vision, nobody else is going to do it like me. They may have similar things, but they're not me. So what I bring to the table is uniquely different. And when you toot your horn, toot it loud. Beat. You hear me? Don't go in playing small. Don't go in trying to be quiet. Go in fully knowing that you deserve to be there. And as you move like that, people resonate with people who have confidence. They do. People turn their heads and look at people who walk in the room like they own the place. Own your strength, own your power, own your knowledge, own your skill set, and then give it to them 100%. Don't shy away because sometimes you only have the one opportunity to shine. So give it to them.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I call her Madam CEO. Own it. Like you walk in the room, have the audacity is what you said. And then one of the things that I love is if you're going to be anybody's fan, it ought to be your own. Thank you so much. Listen, I'm not letting her go. She's going to stay with us. We're going to bring some more of this amazing, phenomenal executive. There we go. And she really is phenomenal. I think I just created a phenomenal word, but we're going to roll with that too. There's more after this, family. Stay tuned.
Good morning. Marshall Weeks here with you on Financial Friday. Ecclesiastes 3:1 states, "There's a time for everything and a season for every activity." So how does this relate to our money? Do we recognize the season we're in financially speaking? We may be in the season of building a budget, building an emergency fund, building our savings. We may be in a season of planting, investing monthly to reap a harvest in retirement, building a business, or sowing the seeds for promotion. We could be in a season of uprooting and removal, examining our spending, removing expenses that are not a priority, or removing ourselves from environments that do not support our financial goals. It is important to know where we are right now and to recognize what season we're in so we can be on time for what God is trying to do in our lives. So we need to recognize where we are financially and make sure we are taking the proper actions so we don't miss out on our time to reap the harvest. You've been empowered because you should prosper.
Good day. Welcome back to the Ride family. We're going to continue with this phenomenal, I'm going to use the word amazing, whatever other adjectives I can come up with, discussion. And what I'd like to do, Madam CEO, is move into one other question from a different viewer. And again, you are the perfect expert to discuss this. This comes from a CEO who has 500 employees, who is also going through a struggling opportunity, but not with their company, it's within themselves and their family dynamics. So they ask, how can I unlock future potential without impacting my staff and still being the best me?
You know what? I think that sometimes we have to go within in order for things to show without. And so with that being said, sometimes you need to take some time for you. You need to invest in you. You need to take that time, maybe whether it's meditation, whether it's listening to something that's going to give you the encouragement that you need to show up in the way that you want to be seen. A lot of times we're so overwhelmed and we're doing so many things, but it requires you to take care of you first, because you can't really pour from an empty cup. So as you're running around doing so many other things, what needs to happen is that your cup is full and then everybody gets the overflow. So what does that look like when your cup is full? Maybe it means that you need to take solitary walks. Maybe it means that before you come home for the day, you sit in your car for a moment and decompress, so that when you get in the house, you're not taking work with you. You're coming in relaxed with a clear mind, and you can step through the door and then talk to your family and be happy. Same thing in reverse. If you've had an argument or you've had something in the household that wasn't to your liking and it made you angry or upset or sad or whatever, before you go into your job, take a moment, sit in the car, regroup, and then when you walk in, take that off of you, and then you focus strictly on what you're doing at the time. And I think when you separate those two things, it allows you to show up differently. It gives you a different perspective. So now you're not carrying those burdens per se. You're able to release them because you know you're going to pick it up later, but you release it for the time, and then you concentrate and give your energy to what you're currently in. Stay in that present moment, but take time to reset. Absolutely, Sparkle. Take time to reset.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. And I love that you immediately, like you didn't have to think about it. You immediately have things that have been practiced or that you have shared, because self-care is also one of your big platforms. You discuss wellness and making sure that individuals care for the body, the one they have, while they're climbing the corporate ladder.
Absolutely. I'm looking at Sparkle's comment. People have learned to stop bleeding on others. What goes on in your personal life or what goes on in your work life. I don't deserve for you to come home and be mad at me because somebody didn't do their job at the workplace. Vice versa. They don't need to be experiencing anything that happens in our household. So it's just a matter of learning how to manage your emotions. And I think, Tammy, I was on one of your platforms when we talked about having being empowered emotionally. You have to understand that your emotions can take control, but you've got to be in control of your emotions. And as you do that, it allows you now to show up in a different manner. As you think about what you're going to say it in a better tone. You're going to come from a space that you know will help people to do well versus just flying off the handle and saying things that ruins everybody else's day as well. You know, we just got to think about taking the time to make sure that as we show up, and I see Tammy said managing your emotions well, we have to be empowered in that space. It's time out for just throwing up on people just because you can. You know, we have to manage that. And when you're in leadership, you have to understand that how you show up, people are looking at you to set the tone. They're looking at you to see how you're going to move, and how you move can make a difference on how other people show up in their lives. It's an example. And although it's a lot of weight, to whom much is given, much is required. And you have to step into that role.
And thank you, because it's an owning it process. And sometimes it's just a general journey for the individual. I love that you reminded us that it's important to separate the personal from professional, but also be real with the stepping away. I would love for some of the viewers to hear some tips on the how. So you mentioned meditation, decompressing. Are there any tips that you recommend for folks in the office place, in their workspace?
You know what? For people in their workspace, I mean, sometimes it's a matter of just getting up from your desk and taking a little time. Maybe you need to go into the break room and just take you a few extra minutes. Maybe, you know, on your lunch break, maybe you don't sit in the break room because you're still in an environment. Maybe it means that you go away for lunch, or you walk around the building to clear your head. Nature can sometimes bring things back into perspective. I think we underestimate how powerful that is. A lot of times, you know, we got these trusty cell phones, baby. Look, this right here is the whole computer that you can use. Put you some music on, listen to some powerful affirmations, listen to some things that's going to help shift how you feel. You know, get you some, everybody has a favorite song that can change how they are. You can go into the bathroom, put your headset on, or do something and kind of get yourself hyped up to say that, you know what, no matter what, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. And when I go back out of that bathroom and sit at my desk or sit at that conference table, now I have that mindset of bring it on, because whatever you bring to me, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it do what it do. It shifts how you are. It gives you that energy that you need. Sometimes it's just a little boost. That's all. Sometimes, you know, Sparkle says, mirror, mirror, go into the bathroom and look at yourself and say, you are capable of handling this conference call. You are able to go in here and persuade these people to sign this contract. You have the knowledge that you need to be successful. I believe in you. I believe in me. Speak those things in the bathroom. It doesn't take long at all. Get in a stall and get you something out and talk to yourself. Encourage yourself. Sometimes that's all that you need. And then you walk out there with a whole different mindset. And it's just to pivot into a place that's going to help you be successful for the remainder of the day.
One of the things that I love about Miss Angela Lewis is she has a way of bringing it right on home to you. There's a difference in what I think individuals' perspectives are for leadership versus what leaders actually deal with. And I thank you for saying there is a burden to leadership. A lot of folks just won't understand, especially our viewer, for example, who shared that they have 500 employees. Well, that's 500 lives and individuals they're responsible for. There's 500 paychecks and households that they want to make sure they can care for. There's 500 healthcare benefits, and then making sure they have safe workspaces. So one of the things that I would love to hear you discuss is, what are your ideals for it to help get rid of the myth of leadership?
You know, I think people really need to sit back, because at some form, You are a leader too. Maybe you don't have 500 employees, but you lead yourself. First and foremost, you have to lead yourself into great situations. You have to lead yourself into how you manage the relationships that you have with your parents, with your siblings, with your spouse, with your children. It starts with you. So if you're easily overwhelmed, imagine when you get into a position where you have 500 employees who are depending on you, when you have 20 employees who are looking at you like, if you make the wrong decision, I'm out of a job, and my wife or my husband or my child needs this insurance. It's a lot of weight. But at the same time, you have to also know that if God put me to this place, then he's equipped me with the things that I need to be successful. And you can't doubt it. You can't second guess it, because we have an intuition. We have a gut that tells us what's right and what's wrong. But you also have to be able to tap into other people, because the Bible also says wise counsel. Wise counsel can change the game for you. So sometimes you need to learn how to step back. If y'all ever look at some of these, I don't want to say Jeopardy or whatever the name of the talk show is, but they give you opportunities when you're like, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Sometimes they'll say, okay, you have an opportunity. You can ask the audience. Maybe you're going to check with the expert. But there's things that you can do that doesn't put all the pressure on you. Sometimes you need to share it out. Get a second opinion. That's just like health issues. Sometimes you can't just go with the first thing. You get a second opinion. Ask somebody that you believe in that may be in your similar situation at another company. Maybe you make friends, or maybe you get in organizations where you can talk to people who can give out this level of advice. Join associations and connect with people, network with people, so that you hear what other people are doing in these type of situations. It gives you perspective. It gives you a base. But bottom line, if you're running your company, believe that you're supposed to be there, and whatever decisions need to be made, that you're going to make the right one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Angela Lewis. For those in the social media platform, goes by A Love. She, in her own right, is a talk show host. But when I say so much more, and the sky is the limit, I can't wait to see what you're doing next, Miss Lewis. But before we let you go, I know I have you for just maybe 2 more minutes, but I want to open the platform and give you an opportunity. Because one of the very first question we received was from a young lady who said she lost it all in the pandemic. There are others who deal with daily struggles in life, and you are an inspiration. You are a motivational speaker. Please feel free in these last 2 minutes to speak whatever is in your heart.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Tami, for this opportunity. So what I'm going to say is that when you find yourself in a position where you feel like you've lost, now is a time for you to pivot, to regroup, to start looking at other opportunities, because maybe there's some other skill set that you can develop. Whatever it is, bet on you. Know that even if you've lost something, it doesn't mean that it's gone forever. Sometimes it's just a shift. It's a pivot. Maybe conditions weren't right, and maybe that's why it happened. But maybe conditions are better now. You don't have to give up on your dreams. You don't have to lose your vision. You just have to believe in yourself and know that whatever is meant for you is meant for you. So don't second guess that. Just have the mindset that I'm going to show up better. I'm going to make sure that I make good moves. I'm going to position myself to know information that's going to help me show up in the best way possible. And then again, just believe in yourself and surround yourself with positive people. You know, we have a lot of people who are in your ear always telling you what you can't do and how it's not going to work. But listen, if God gave you a vision, he's already given you everything you need to make it happen. All you got to do is keep moving. Don't stay still. Don't be stagnant. Just keep moving and keep, reinventing yourself if you have to. Whatever it takes for you to make your goals happen, step into it and just keep moving and watch things unfold, and treat yourself with some kindness and some grace. Because a lot of times we're our hardest critic, but give yourself some grace for the moment and then keep moving, because I believe you can make it happen.
Miss Angela Lewis, I thank you so much for joining me today, for sharing your wisdom and insight, for even counting it not robbery to speak with our viewers today. We know that it takes a lot to start a network, takes a lot to start not just one magazine, but multiple, to be an author of your own book and then publish others. I mean, there's so much that your hand is in, building networks. And I just thank you for being the amazing woman that you are, individual that you are. Um, I wish I was writing while you were speaking, so I'm going to have to watch this broadcast again just so that I can get all of that because you were for sure dropping some nuggets. We also want to take this minute to thank our viewers for submitting your questions. We hope bringing this expert that not only shared some insight, but some how factors. We don't just want to leave you with information, but applicability. How can I apply it to my life was helpful. We're going to move forward into our wrap up. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. You all stay tuned. There's more after this.
Hey, it's your girl A Love. Make sure you follow me and Pastor PG, LaShonda Robinson, on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Girl Let's Talk. And let me tell you, it's not your typical church conversation. Make sure you join us on the WIN Network.
Hi, guys. It's Tina Wynn, your host of the podcast, You See Me. I want you guys to stay encouraged, continue to come out and see me, and most importantly, see yourselves. Remember, the only way that you can truly enjoy life is to see other people so that you can enjoy the beauty of seeing yourself. Come join me Saturdays at 4 on the We Empowered Network. Thank you.
Welcome back, family. Wow, what a segment. I said it. I'm going to do it. I got to watch this rewind. That was powerful. One of the best parts about associating yourself with winners is you can't help but win too. We hope that the information shared today elevated you, equipped you, educated you, and empowered you to make a difference. Remember how your vote matters. It is your voice. And no matter how much people try to make it not go into effect, how they try to make votes not matter, how they try to pass laws that make them harder, that should speak louder to why it's so important. Think about it. Why are they doing so much to stop me from voting? It's because your vote will make a difference for generations to come. Make sure that you share this information with others around you and connect to the updates and what's happening in your community. We also want to thank the amazing Angela Lewis for joining us today, answering questions from our viewers and dropping some nuggets of tips and some speaking some life and hope into all of us. One thing that I know is, as she said, when you connect to others, it makes a difference in making your vision come to pass. One of the viewers wrote about their potential being unlocked while they're already leading an agency. And many folks might think 500 employees is not small stuff. But it doesn't mean that the individual doesn't still put their pants on one leg at a time. Every human being is going to deal with struggles in life. We all just went through a pandemic. Didn't matter how much money you had, what your health might have been. It didn't matter your children, your makeup, where you came from. Everyone had to deal with the possibilities of shutdown and the world changing. We weren't just shut down in America. They were shut down all over the world. And so that was an opportunity for each of us to do a reassessment of us. What's important? What do we need to prioritize? How can I change the world? I thank Miss Lewis for coming and reminding us, because if you noticed, she didn't take a minute to run down her list of accomplishments. I didn't hear at any time an I indicator. She is a very selfless individual that focuses on others. And that's one of the key reasons why she is so successful. She builds ways of brokering communication globally to help others feel empowered. So consider what is in you to do that will impact the world and help somebody else. And I guarantee, as they say, the rest is gravy, that all of your dreams can come true. And that helps for folks who aren't sure of your purpose. I love when I get questions all the time that say, well, Tammy, you keep talking about purpose. I don't even know my purpose. Can I tell you? It's not hard to find. Start with what you love to do. That's your purpose. Start with what you enjoy spending your time doing that other folks don't have to ask you to do. You volunteer. You jump out there. I love the babies. I love coaching. Oh, I love helping seniors. Yes, ma'am. I'll gladly take you home. I don't mind driving on the weekend. Sure, no problem. Let me go with you. You never know the impact you make until you decide to unlock it. And as Miss Lewis said, own it and then believe that, honey, I'm here and y'all are going to experience me while I'm here. And if I never see you again, it's okay because I'm here right now and all I can deal with is right now. Remember, even the Bible says you don't take thought for tomorrow because tomorrow has its own problems waiting for you. But right now, I get to be the best, most amazing me that I can be. We hope this show helped to hear you, for you to hear trigger words, potential, value, and worth. You have so much worth in the earth. You are where you are intentionally and on purpose. And as we wrap up this show today, we just want to remind you to write down your goals, build good habits, dream bigger, and stop letting the folks have the voice that's louder than yours. Can I tell you that the most important conversation you'll ever have is what you say to you? Self-talk is everything. Surround yourself with whatever you need to keep you going, keep you lifted, keep you energized. Come on, song. She pulled my song out. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. And honestly, I can't tell you too many more verses of the song, but I know that part. And that's what got me going when I needed it in that moment. I had a conference I had to speak at, and I was feeling under the weather. And my son, come on, y'all, 21, sent me that song. It was like, Mom, you got it. Check this out. And when I heard the verse, I was like, gonna win. Let's go. If I get out there, because I was sick at the moment, if I get out there and I start speaking and I lose my voice, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to drop what I can. And then I'm going to put the mic down and keep it moving. And I'm going to just trust God's got me in this position, knowing I don't feel well, but going to have everything come out how he wanted to. Can I tell you, that was one of the best keynote speeches I've ever given. Can I tell you, I got myself happy during giving that message. Can I tell you that I did not lose my voice, no runny nose, no coughing, anything, because I gave it to God. I released my fears and I said, let's do this. And let's do it out loud like never before. Family, we hope you leave today better, more powerful, more elevated and inspired than ever before, so that this day gets you to where you can see vision, where you can feel clearer, where you walk in the possibilities, as Miss Lewis shared, because you're surrounded by them. You got to walk. You got to put one foot in front of the other. You got to get out of bed and kick those legs over and say, yes, I can. All right, God, let's do this. See, faith means that you don't know what's in front of you. But to Miss Lewis's point, I'm going in that room like I own the table. Come on, somebody. Sometimes you've got to be the one to encourage yourself. We look for other people's to be our lifter and our validator, and that they're the ones that say it's okay. Once they say it's okay, I'm good. Can I tell you that same person might be the one on a bad day that might hurt your feelings or lose hope in you, or be the one that can't see what vision God has for you because it's inside of you and not inside of them. Let us walk worthy. Let us stand tall, shoulders back. Let us be so glad and proud that God loves us the way he made us, that we overlook the flaws. Y'all, I had to stop looking in my mirror as long as I had, because all I was seeing was flaws. And when that's all you see, you focus on the wrinkles, you focus on the gray, you focus on the overweight, you focus on the spots, you focus on the stuff. But God doesn't care anything about any of that. And honestly, most folk around you don't either. Most individuals just want what's in here. Because when you go from your heart, it's going to touch somebody else's heart. And that's what sustains life. We all need each other to survive. We're one race, the human race. It doesn't matter whether you're our African brothers and sisters, whether you're our Asian brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter if you're our Canadian brothers and sisters, where you are on the globe or across the water. And it doesn't matter if you're up the street from me, but have a different complexion. What matters is that we're all trying to do this together, this thing called life, so that we can make the world better for the babies coming behind us that are going to have to care for us when we're older, that are going to have to then age and their babies have to care for them. The circle of life. Family, we hope today makes such an impact that you leave feeling enlightened and reminding yourself, yes, I can. Might not feel good to you, but it's good for you because all things work together. Come on, family. We're going to get out here and do it and be amazing. And we're going to do it and look back and say, man, I did that. Because the decisions and choices that we make right now is what makes a difference. The actions that we start doing right now is what we're going to sow later. Remember, you reap what you sow. That means sometimes it's sowing season. And can you imagine a farmer out there with the heat on his back? Can you imagine him? Okay, the rain's coming. Let me get out there and hurry up and till the ground. Can you imagine the work they put in just so you can have some fruits and vegetables? Just so you can have some bread? Come on, milk. Just so that you can have the things that help sustain you. They deal with the elements and environment. How much more important is it that you focus on your sowing season so that when it comes time to reap, you not only grew in the opportunity to learn new processes, to connect with new people, to learn new things. Miss Lewis said, you got to be educated, knowledgeable. You're going to talk to folk. You got to know what you're talking about. But it doesn't mean you got to be a scholar. You can go to YouTube and listen to motivational videos. You can let Google help your thumbs get educated and learn new information. There's free certification programs out there. Come on, still go to school no matter what age you are. The difference is the only thing stopping you is you. Family, as we wrap up this show, we just want to remind you that you are awesome. Write that down, put it on your mirror, put it wherever you need to, that you are enough. Write that down, put it wherever you need to so that you can see it, say it, speak that thing, drop those seeds in the earth and get that lift that you need. I am enough. Yes, I can do this because the world needs you, all your gifts, all your talents, everything that makes you amazing. We need you right now, more than ever. Family, thank you for joining our segment today. The team of the Power Up comes together simply to help equip, educate, empower, and elevate you to make a difference where you are, to impact your community, and to change the world. We appreciate you joining us. There's another great show coming, so we'll see you next time. Have a great day and go be great and live on purpose.